So with that, we got a lot of science. We're up to 63 now. So what can that get us? We could possibly get a couple things, actually. So let's get this, because these radial decouplers are really nice. And I do kind of want that basic rocketry. However, ooh, there's other things here that would be quite nice to have. You know what? Let's get this. Because it's 45 science exactly. It's exactly what we needed. Now, I don't know if you're ready for this, if you're ready for my jelly, but I don't even know what that means. But I do have a plan, and it's to get into the moon's orbit. I know that sounds silly. We're going to get into its orbit, and we're going to come back. We're going to slingshot around. That is our current goal, which means we need to redesign this. Landing gear? Sure, but not on this one, because our decoupler is going to move down. We are going to add another one of those. We are going to add another one of these. Then some more batteries to be safe. Don't want to run out of power up there. Okay, next we need a couple extra parachutes. Help us slow us down, because we're going to be carrying a little extra weight. We'll do another 4 like that. Looking good. Here's what we're going to do. Structural decoupler, right? We're going to kind of go with the same setup we had before with the double engine here, except we're going to go, or with the double fuel tank, but we'll go with a smaller one. We will get this engine. That will get us into the orbit and out of the orbit of the moon. We need a decoupler. Then we need 3 fuel tanks. And what we're going to do here is we're going to put an engine on the bottom. We're going to put these radial decouplers. So these are for the side, and they have struts as well, so it makes it a bit further away from the actual structure itself, which makes it a lot easier to deal with. So let's actually, can we do an extra one? Let's try this. Oh, this is going to be good or bad. Probably both. It's going to be so good in a bad sense. It's kind of like Cowboys and Aliens, if you've ever seen that movie. That movie was so bad that it was good. It's an enjoyable movie. Everybody can have fun in that movie. It's also like Battleship, another good bad movie. Possibly the best bad movie, because it's fun. Okay, so these connectors, by the way, will break off if the engines do. We're just going to do that, and that should keep us from totally doing a spin out of control again. We'll do another one like this, like so. Then we are going to add these for launch stability. Do we have, okay, we do have these. Pop on the cones here. Whoops, come on. Oh, my struts are in the way, so let's do this. Then we will strut to the top of my cone. Aerodynamics, science. Okay, here we go. So these 6 engines along the outside are going to launch all at once. That should get us out of the low atmosphere. Then these, all the radial decouplers there will break off. So all of those engines will disappear. Then we'll be left with this middle engine, which has a lot of fuel. That should get us to the moon, no problem. Then we have this middle one, which will decouple. That should get us into the orbit. And I'm debating on being ballsy. We might land and come back. Might being the optimal term there. We'll see. Also, that should do it. So let's save this as Moon or Mon probe. Mark 1. Save and launch. Because they don't pronounce, I mean, it's the moon, but they spell it M-U-N in Kerbal Space Program, not M-O-O-N. That's fine. Okay, you see how stable that sucker is now? It's not all bouncing around or anything. This is going to be great. Jebediah, don't you worry. I'll get you back, hopefully, in one piece. Firing main engines. Wow, that is a lot of Delta V. We do not need that much thrust, so let's pull down the fuel a bit. Down a bit. There we go. Should save us a little bit of fuel. We're going to see this stage only. And this should do a pretty good job of getting us close to 10,000 meters. At about 10,000 meters on Kerbin, that's when you want to start your atmospheric turn. And when you're doing your atmospheric turn, that's going to basically give you, like I said before, you want to be getting both vertical and horizontal speed at the same time. You don't want to go vertical only and then have to get suddenly all horizontal. That wastes fuel, so it's better to do it at the same time. It also helps because of the way gravity works. It just helps to go at an angle rather than straight up. Pro tips. It's harder to get out of the atmosphere of a planet by going straight up than it is by going at an angle. Then again, if a planet does not have an atmosphere, like the moon for example, you still want to go with an atmospheric turn even if it doesn't have an atmosphere, because that helps you get your horizontal and your vertical speed at the same time. You'll start the atmospheric turn almost instantly if it doesn't have an atmosphere, because that way you'll start getting ready for your actual orbit, and you'll start creating an orbit. So that's how that works. Wow, I totally have not been paying attention, and instead we really just need to burn right. Full right. Oop, that's a little too far. No, come back. Okay, well, that's not what I wanted to do, but you know what? We're correcting slowly. It's a big craft. It doesn't want to do it. And up a bit. Perfect. What's our apoapsis? It is at about 50 meters. That needs to be higher, so I'm going to pull the ship closer to where our retrograde is, or prograde rather. That was too much. This guy seems really hard to control at this amount of weight on it. Maybe we won't go for a landing. I was ballsy. I was hoping. We still need to get into orbit. That's kind of our main thing here, which is not hard to do. So once that's about 70,000, we will start doing more of a horizontal burn rather than kind of a vertical horizontal, which is where we're at now. We will burn more towards the horizon. I am making good speed, though. I am probably going to start an orbit here very shortly. We would have enough fuel to get there and back, but I don't want to strand poor Jebediah just in case. We're going to do that. We're going to burn. This is a much weaker engine, so it's not going to go as well. However, we're going to cut everything. We're going to go back to the map. We're going to go to a horizon right there. We're going to speed up time a bit. And you know what? Let's just go all the way to the apoapsis. Not going to do a maneuver node, because we will do a maneuver node in a second here. As you can tell, this engine burns a whole lot less fuel. So you can see that the fuel on the engine itself is going down much slower than the other one was. But as you can tell, I also have less thrust. So getting a orbit is a little harder with this engine. We'll get there, and it'll start speeding up exponentially as we go. So the orbit here will suddenly become a lot bigger. Right now, you can see it moving a little bit off of the planet's surface. About halfway. We're almost there. And periapsis. There we go. We're just going to watch this sucker. We want it at about a little more. 72,000. That'll work. So now we're actually in an orbit. So can we do another crew report? No, it's not going to get us anything here. That's fine. kind of expected it. What we want to do is, this is how we're going to do this. So we want to get to the moon. So we're going to set it as a target. And the thing is, the moon moves counterclockwise, so it'll move to the left, which means we kind of want to aim over here-ish. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to set up a maneuver node about right there, and we're going to prograde, which will burn, you know, the direction we're headed. So that'll get us about right there. Now you see these two, that basically determines how close we are. Oop. That is about what we want. We can bring that in a little bit. That might work really well. So I have to get 864 meters a second to make that work. So what if I do something like that? That'll be a bit easier. We'll see what kind of fuel we have doing it that way. Okay, so let's set ourselves up for success. I probably could have thrown an extra big fuel tank on here, but I decided, you know, may as well go little, because I didn't really think we would land on the moon. But we'll see. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm pointing towards the blue. The blue node on my nav ball shows me where I need to be facing for my maneuver to actually work. So we're going to speed up time a little bit here. We will burn for about 1 minute and 30 seconds, roughly, and that will happen in roughly 11 minutes. So we're I can't speed up any more than that because I'm below 120,000 meters. That's fine. I just want to cut it kind of close to 2 minutes. About right. Let's start our burn at 2 minutes. So let's get this set up, and we're just gonna full burn. We could probably drop that a little bit, and I just want to kind of stay on this node. And as you can see, our apoapsis is going to start growing here, and our fuel is going to start going down, which is why I wanted the return trip here, because if we're not going to land, I don't want to be wasting fuel getting into orbit when I could just, you know, slingshot myself back around, slow down my periapsis, and then land back on Kerbin. That's our goal. That's what we're going to do. Let's stop our engines for a second and get closer to that 1 minute mark on our node. That's pretty good. That's not bad. Okay, so what happens with this node is you kind of want this meters per second to be at 0 when this node hits in T-minus 0. Otherwise, it'll change from minus 47 seconds to plus, and then you'll kind of be screwing up your maneuver there. So you want it as close as possible. And I wasn't paying attention to my burn time there, but it'll be close enough. So now we want the bound. It's going to switch over soon. There we go. Oh, that's way better than the node I had before. Screw that. Get out of here, node. Look. What are you kidding? I'm a pro. Okay. We are going to speed up time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the thing here, and I'm going to check this mystery goo out, which will give me an extra 10 science. And I will do this, which is giving me an extra 25 science. We're going to crew report, and we're going to transmit that. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm in a different portion than I have been. I'm kind of in like mid-space here between the Kerbin and the moon, which does actually get you some extra stuff. So grab onto that. We will board. We will transmit data. Reusable ones only. We definitely don't have enough fuel to land and get back. So let us speed up time. And what'll happen is about right there. You'll see everything change, but it's all going to be the same. When I reach that end over here, it'll throw me out into the orbit around Kerbin, which is what I wanted. So let's go to our periapsis. There. And now we're going to do all of the rest of our experiments. Keep it. That's 30 science because we're in the orbit of the moon. That's a lot of science, right? That'll be 60 science. You can do them about twice. We'll crew report. We'll transmit that. We will save that. That was 75 science. And he's getting out to do that. So let's do this. EVA report. We'll keep it. We'll get back in. And we will transmit that. Back. Perfect. Perfect. For the science, speed up time. And let's go out of the escape trajectory back into Kerbin's orbit. So what we're going to do here is I'm actually going to set up a maneuver for this. Right about here. We're just going to move the periapsis in to roughly there, so I don't see it anymore. Now, I need to only burn for... Ooh, I'm still kind of speeding up time here. I only need to burn for a very limited amount of time, so let's bring it down to under a minute time-wise by speeding up. Ooh, that was way too much. You know what? It'll work. I'll just burn. I could have eyeballed it, but I wanted to make sure that that was going to happen. Funny thing is, I still nailed that node even though I was over on time. So we're going to speed up. The apoapsis is the point, since it's the furthest out, it means it is also the point that you will be moving the slowest in your orbit, as opposed to the periapsis, which will be the point that you're moving the quickest, because you're the quickest, or you're the closest to the gravity well of whatever you're orbiting around. So that's how that works. And we are coming in hot, so it'll automatically slow us down here. Or it should. Getting kind of scared. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. Whew. We are going to ditch this, so let's get that out of here. Sorry, engine. I loved you for a little bit. Now I don't. I like how it just kind of slowly goes away from me. It's actually really dangerous to launch it that way, and you'll see what I mean in a second here. When I start slowing down, it's going to start slowing down at about roughly the same pace. I'm less mass than it is because it has fuel still in it, so it'll slow down at a slower pace, so it will go slightly over me, and you'll see that here in a second. Yeah, you see it kind of move into the left a bit. It's still burning up in the atmosphere just as I am, but if I pull my chutes, which I will here, let's do it now, you'll see, boom. So if it was the same mass as I was and it was slowing down at the same rate, what happens there is it could hit you. So you want to be kind of careful with that. Also, these are all tangled. There we go. Gears. To bring those out. Yeah. Don't land in the water. Oh, you're totally going to land in the water, aren't you? That's fine, I suppose. Speed up time. Slow down a little bit. And then all the way so it doesn't just rip. Because the thing is, if you're speeding up time, the physics don't understand it properly sometimes. So it could, like when it does that, it could rip your vessel apart because you're at an increased rate. Cool. Now we'll speed up time to get back to the water. Gently does it now. Get to about right there. We'll slow it down. And not blow up. Don't blow up. Yeah. Nice. I'm a master of science. Look, 211 science from just getting into the orbit of the moon. Imagine if we actually landed. We would have gotten so much more. So what are we going to do to make sure that is a thing that will happen? Well, we have a few options. And I think what we're going to do primarily is get this. So this will give us this, which will give us bigger fuel tanks, which is always nice. And then we could do those. And those fuel tanks and engines are really, really good for getting you up out of orbit. So I think that's what we're going to grab. But I'm looking for... There it is. The fuel duct. So I wanted that first. And we'll see what that does when we do our next launch. Is there really anything? I mean, yeah, let's just get that because it's there. Cool. Look how much we did in only an hour of playing for me, which is much shorter for you guys because this is edited down. However, with that being said, we have gotten really far, and it's only going to get better from here. Next goal, get to the moon and get back from the moon. Kind of a hard thing to do, but we shall see how to do it in the next episodes. We'll see you guys next time.